Hey there, Erin Chase here from $5 Dinners, and welcome to the channel. This episode's going to be a little bit different from things that we typically share, although we are in the kitchen because this is just the easy spot for us to do this. This is my oldest son, Ryan, and we're going to share some really important information with you today. Quick reason and backstory. I get asked all the time, how is your child going to college debt-free? An out-of-state college, debt-free. It's a big question. And I get asked about it a lot. And there are 3 resources that I read and studied very diligently, I think during your sophomore, junior years, and then a little bit your senior year of high school. And those resources were really helpful in us kind of coming up with a plan to do this. So I really want to get specific with numbers. I want to tell you kind of the overall kind of thought and mindset of it all, share the resources. I will share those in the description below. It's 3 books that I highly recommend reading. Even if your kids aren't in high school, read them when they're younger. And real quick, if you're not saving for college, start right now. That's all I'm going to say, because it is what? Really expensive. With, I think in your case, you knew what you wanted to do, you knew where you wanted to go, so it made this investment in your future. It's really a co-investment because it's both of us together. So let's back it up. That's the intro. That's why we're here. And let's back it up to tell everybody who you are, where you go to school, what you're studying. Just give us like the quick download there.
Yeah, so I'm Ryan. I go to school at Florida State University, and I'm studying real estate and economics. And it was my goal to graduate debt-free, but now I'm on track to graduate with at least $10,000, maybe even a lot more than that.
I think it'll be more than 10, which is kind of bananas. So how does that work? We live in Texas. Florida is an out-of-state school. Let's go back to the campus tour. We went to Florida State, you and I together. We went to do a tour because you wanted to go to school there. You were admitted. We wanted to check it out to make sure it was the right place. So tell us what happened in that initial tour meeting.
In that room, there was another parent that asked about the study abroad programs, and we basically found out that if you go study abroad your freshman year, then you qualify for in-state tuition. So that's exactly what I did, and now I pay in-state tuition rates, which are very, very low in Florida.
We're sitting in this meeting. This is the beginning of the tour. So this is probably 3 or 4 hours, right? There was a meeting and then we were going on the tour. So I don't really remember seeing the campus because we were both on our phones, trying to research this abroad program. Should we go to Florence? Should we go to Panama? And so where did you end up going?
I went to Valencia, Spain.
Okay, so what did that look like? When did you go? How long were you there?
I started late. It started 3 or 4 weeks later than the Tallahassee campus. Started in mid-September. I was there, had a normal Christmas break, and then came back for a second semester. I was originally going to do summer because originally you had to do all 3 semesters, including summer, to get the in-state tuition. But then while I was there, they just reduced it to 2 semesters. So I ended up coming home for the summer, working that summer, and here I am.
Yeah, so your freshman year, you ended up spending fall, spring in Valencia, Spain. I mean, just tell everybody where else you went, while you were there.
I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. I
Everywhere.
went to a lot of.
You went everywhere.
Yeah, I did.
You went. I would open Life 360, and you'd be walking in Rome. I was oh, look, he's in Rome. What is happening? Well, that's because it's really inexpensive to travel while you're there, and we wanted you to travel while you were there. So we did actually. As his parents, we decided above and beyond, we want you to go and have these experiences because it's very inexpensive to travel.
And everybody did. Everybody in the program was going on trips with each other. It was just awesome.
Yeah. Well, so then in spring, no class on Monday and Friday, right? So you were able to take
just no class on
spring. It was Monday and Friday, right?
No, I had no class on Thursday and Friday, so I had a 5-day weekend every single weekend.
I mean, dream life, right? Obviously, this is an insane and amazing experience you got to have, and we were very lucky that we were able to do that. All that to say, we did have to front load, that's what I say, the expenses of your college career because we had to pay full price, and then we did add on the little extra for travel. So that did end up being probably close with all the travel, probably close to $50,000, which sounds insane, but tell me about do you remember we went to dinner after the tour?
Yes.
Tell me about that spreadsheet.
So basically we calculated how much money we would save from qualifying for the in-state tuition, and by going abroad, we actually saved about $50,000 if I had just gone the 4 traditional years in Tallahassee paying out-of-state tuition. It ended up saving us $50,000.
I remember, and you said, I don't think Dad's going to go for this, right? Because you thought it would be too expensive. And do you remember what he replied? I remember texting him. Do you remember what he replied? Steve replied, if it's going to save us money, we're doing this. Because that's just a really large amount of money. And we wanted you to go to Florida State. Because you knew what you wanted to do.
It was my dream school. It was my #1 pick. It was the hardest school I applied to, and I got in, luckily. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to do, and it ended up working out.
So knowing that helped us make the decision, like, okay, this is a large amount of money up front. But then now, when you pay tuition now, I'm almost like, oh my gosh, that's hardly anything. It's still a lot, but it's way, way, way less than.
It's about $2,500 a semester in tuition.
Right, and then there's expenses, and you're on like, okay, so we front loaded. I say that's how I explain it. The beginning of his college career was really expensive, and we used, I would say, probably a third of that you paid for, maybe half we paid for, and then a little bit from savings, a tiny bit from savings. We haven't actually, you shouldn't have to pay anything because whatever, I'm getting ahead of ourselves. Okay, so let's back it up to high school. What did you do in high school? How did you have so much money going into college?
So basically when I turned 15, I got a job with my friend at a pizza shop, and I worked there for 3 years, eventually getting promoted to the second highest in the company. So I was able to work. I just worked all summer. I worked as much as I could. I quit baseball to work more, which I know most people probably wouldn't do that, but it was something I was willing to do. So I just tried to earn as much money as I can, and it really paid off for me.
And you remember how much you went, like you're going into your freshman year of college, how much money you had in the bank?
Going into freshman year, I had about $22,000.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot for a high school kid, but you worked hard because but you were driven and you knew what you wanted to do, and you knew that you knew that you paying for part of college was going to be part of the deal. We have this much money for you, you have this much, and we have this much in savings. So that I wanted to be like clear about that. So we used a lot of his work earnings to pay for that freshman year. Let's go back to Spain. You couldn't work there.
No, I couldn't work there. I thought about it. I really wanted to, but I made the right decision not to. It would have taken a lot of work to get set up there, but no one else worked. There was not a single person in the 200-person program that worked. It just wasn't really a priority for anybody. Yeah. And I don't regret it. I don't regret not working.
Yeah. But you were worried about it. Why?
I was worried about it because I just felt like I was spending so much money without any money coming in, and that's a really tough feeling for someone like me. Yeah. But it ended up being all right.
Yeah, it did work out, and we'll get to that here in a minute. Okay, so sophomore year, last year, you lived on campus, so you had tuition and room and board, essentially, was your cost, right? So how did you pay? Tell us about that, and I don't know if you remember exact amounts, but rough estimates. Tell me about your meal plan and why you picked the one you did. Go through that.
I was originally going to do the unlimited meal plan for convenience, but then I really broke down the numbers and I thought just the 100 swipes would be good for me, so I ended up doing that. The tuition and the dorm room and board, it ended up costing about $10,000 a semester, and I was able to just pay it all. It drained my bank account though, but.
The summer after your freshman year in Valencia, you did work. Tell me about working, what you did last summer.
Yeah, so basically I just worked at a nearby store, Chick-fil-A. We've been going there for pretty much the 10 years it's been here. And
everybody knows you in the drive-thru because all our friends go there.
I pretty much see someone I know about once every shift. But yeah, so when I was in Spain, I was trying to get my summer job together. So I actually applied in Spain. I interviewed in Spain. I got the job in Spain pretty much, and then I did some final onboarding once I got home, and then I basically just worked 50 hours a week this last summer.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that helped you get reset a little bit for your
Mm-hmm.
sophomore year, those big expenses. We did pull a tiny bit, I think $1,500 or so out of savings for the spring semester. And then fast forward to this summer, I guess. Tell me about this summer, other scholarships. Tell me where we are now.
Yeah, so I just finished up my second summer at Chick-fil-A. I tried to work as much as I can, but I was also really busy with other stuff this summer, so I think I worked a little less than last summer, but still a lot. I managed to get the reputation as someone who always will pick up a shift if I can. I just do my best to work as many hours as I can.
Yeah.
And then also, I got a scholarship from Chick-fil-A for $2,500. I was one of 2 people to get that scholarship from my store. It's $1,000, $2,500, and then $25,000. And
For Chick-fil-A.
yeah, these are for
Corporate.
Chick-fil-A scholarships. I believe there's only like a handful of people that get the $25,000, so that really wasn't in the picture. But
Yeah.
I got the $2,500 one from my store, which was amazing. I was at the dining hall when they called me. They FaceTimed me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So then you're applying that scholarship to
This upcoming semester, fall of my junior year, 2025.
So then I've seen your balance for fall 2025 for your junior year, $1,300. That's only tuition. So $1,300, which we've already moved and we're ready to. We actually skipped a huge thing. Tell me about the job that you ended up with. You struggled getting a job at the beginning of your sophomore year, fall. So tell me at the end of the fall semester, what ended up happening and then what happened into the spring.
Yeah, so it took a while for me to get that job. It was stressing me out for a bit, but I ended up getting the concessions at the basketball arena. So just working the concession stands at basketball, nothing fancy or anything. But I was asked to start working for the catering department, which is like a level up. And then after about a few months of working for the catering department, I was also asked if I wanted to start working in suites, which is like the luxury boxes for the basketball games and all the concerts and events. So I got promoted to that, and that job is going to allow me to graduate with a lot of money because of the tips that you get working the suites.
I know what I attribute your quick promotions in this role, or in the working for the Tucker Center. What do you think? Why do you think you got promoted so quickly?
Well, I could tell you, the GM said he really liked my work ethic. I was willing to work as much as I could. I was working hard. I was working a lot, and he quote unquote said, "I need 4 more of these people right now. That would solve all my problems."
Wow.
So that's what I believe got me promoted so quickly.
But I think it goes back to your experience working in high school, right? Working in food, working in with customers. You're a hard worker already, but then your experience plus your work ethic, I think combined is that was kind of a meteoric rise in the Tucker Center ecosystem. So you ended up staying late into the spring semester to get more shifts at the Tucker Center for graduations and things.
Yeah.
So you came home later than normal, right?
I came home a week later just so I could work at the graduation events.
Yeah, make some more money. I
Yep.
love it. Good mindset, good mindset. Okay, this summer, what have you been up to?
Working at Chick-fil-A again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
picking up all those shifts.
Picking up as many shifts as I can, working as hard as I can, working as much as I can, doing everything I can to find availability. I have open availability. I'm one of the only people that has that. Work is definitely a priority for me.
And they're gracious enough to let you do work overtime, you know, to a point. It's not like you're working 80 hours a week, but they do let you do that, which is really nice.
I usually do clock some overtime hours,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Yeah. Junior year and senior year are going to look a little different on the finances side because tuition is going to be much less. Tuition at this point is being paid from savings accounts. You have probably left in the 2 savings accounts, I would say between the 2 of them, you have about $22,000 at present. And we intentionally chose to not, we used 2 tiny slices, I think $1,200 or $1,500 before, and we decided to not use them because 2 years ago, the market was in a bit of a dip. And so I thought, if we can just let this sit in here a little longer, it will grow, and it has. So that's really nice. So at this point, your tuition is fully covered for this year and for senior year. And you might even end up having some left over. If you ended up wanting to go to graduate school, you'd have a little bit left over for that. You can use it for your rent and other things, but we haven't gotten to that point where we need to do that yet. So this year, your tuition and meal plan will be paid for by savings accounts. And then how are you planning on paying for like rent, eating out, all the fun extra things that happen with college life?
Just cash, just the money that I've earned.
Yeah, love that. Okay, so that is a very quick overview. We wanted to share a couple of specific numbers with you. I think all in, it is going to be over $100,000 investment. His money, Steve and I committed to giving each kid $25,000 over the life of their college career, which we use most of yours at the beginning. We still have a little bit for you to give to you, and then all the savings accounts. So all of that combined, your cash flow, our cash flow, and savings accounts all together is going to make it so that you can graduate debt-free and with a lot of money in the bank, which I think is amazing, because I hear people all the time saying, oh, my kid's not gonna be able to afford an apartment, house, all that, which kind of is true. But I think you're gonna be set up in a position where you're gonna be fairly comfortable, plus your work ethic and your experience and where you'll end up getting a job. I think you're such a great example of this. I love this, your example for our kids, your brothers, our other kids, and also for other people. I just think it's really unique, and people get really, really freaked out by really big numbers, because they're big numbers. You go on the Florida State website, it's what's supposed to be $40,000 a year for out of state. I'd see that and be like, bye, we're not even gonna apply. But you knew what you wanted, you knew where you wanted to go, so you did do that. To close this out and wrap this up, Ryan, I wanna ask you, what advice would you give to younger kids, high schoolers, even other college kids in trying to do their very best to get their college degree and doing it in a way that is honorable, mindful of, money management, and getting through ultimately with the goal of being debt-free?
Yeah, I would say the number one advice I could give is you have to work as much as you can. Push yourself to your limits. Your income is going to be the greatest factor in paying for college. Also, just being able to manage your money, knowing the health of your financial situation is also very important.
Tell me about when you turned 18. What did you do when you turned 18 with all your bank accounts? Give us a quick review of that.
Oh, I remember the night I turned 18, I had my laptop out and a checklist. Basically just opened a bunch of bank accounts that I couldn't before. But
right.
I opened a high yield savings account, which has been very special for me. It's done a lot of good work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and you knew to do that because we talk about these things, but then you went ahead and did it right away. I remember at the end of that day, you were like, I think I'm good being an adult. I'm over it. I'd like to go back to being a kid after all the paperwork pushing that has to happen. I'm always tickled by that. Having a high yield savings account, that's another good piece of advice. An investment account. You have a custodial account still. So you really did a lot of research trying to decide, bank account wise, how you're going to set yourself up. You have a spreadsheet for your net worth. You've really done a good job. So I think that could also be helpful for people to know that it's not just thinking about these things. It's getting it down, getting it on paper or in a spreadsheet, getting the right accounts working for you. I think that that's something that young people don't think about. You can make your money work for you, and you've done a really good job of that. We've done a good job of it with savings accounts, even adding $100 a month. It's not like we've added all this crazy amounts of money to them. But then also you doing that with your own money. And it's I don't need a lot of money to live week to week. You're living here. You don't have rent. So you've done a good job of making your money work for you. So I think that's really helpful for people to know too. This is proof that you can do college debt-free, even out of state. And it's really about having the conversation. We talked a lot about it when he was in high school, getting on the same page. You're a hard worker, getting a plan in place for how you're actually physically going to have the right amount of money in the right account to pay the bill, which actually we need to pay your fall bill. Let's do that today since classes start, Monday. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing this story. And are you available to help people if they need it?
Yes. I am definitely available.
Okay, we will have information about that and how to get connected with Ryan. If you would like a little bit more help, if you're a parent who thinks I want my child to be more like Ryan, have him help your child. Sometimes it's better when it's coming from somebody else, and especially somebody who is young and doing it well. I hope this video was helpful. I'm sorry it's a little bit of a departure from what is normally here on the channel, but if you also need some budget ideas for food because you need to pay for college, here we are. We're here to help with that too. Okay, thanks, bud. Awesome.
Thank you.